Today, we are going to talk about a book that has elements of the sea and water and old wooden ships. And the name of the book we're going to talk about today is called Oracle by Thomas Olde Heuvelt. I've read one other book by him called Hex. I loved Hex. I have another book of his on my bookshelf that I have not read called Echo. This book is awesome. And I also love that it has a tie-in to Hex. One of the characters was in the book Hex. So you have that tie-in. If you've read Hex, that was about this town in Black Spring, New York. There was this witch who kind of haunted the town, and she had her mouth sewn shut and her eyes sewn shut. And everyone who went to the town was kind of cursed. They could never leave. And if they did leave, they would try to commit suicide. And there's a whole crazy story. It's pretty awesome. I liked it a lot. And so this book, Oracle, has the tie into that, which is cool. I love when authors do that, when they kind of tie in their books and create like a whole little small microcosm world in their writing and such. Big fan. I love how Stephen King does that, Josh Malerman does that, and now Thomas Olde Heuvelt. So I wonder if in Echo, if there's any of that. I have no idea. Let me know if you guys know, because I haven't read it yet, and I need to. This book's awesome. I freaking loved it. Anything that has to do with the sea, come on. I am usually a fan. I mean, unless the writing is terrible and it went in a weird direction. There's these two kids. They're on their way to school. It's a misty day. The mist is like hanging over the land and just clouding everything. Visibility is not so great. Luca and his friend Emma, who he has a huge crush on, are on their way to school. They're riding their bikes. Luca sees something in this field that's normally this like big tulip field. And so he's like, hey, I want to go check this out. And it's an old wooden ship. And so him and Emma go to investigate this. And they're like, this is like something out of Pirates of the Caribbean. It's crazy. So they climb up there and it's on its side. No idea how it got there. There's no like dredges through the land. It's there. Like it just appeared into that reality at this place called Everyman's End. That's the name of the land. And it's on the land of this guy, Wim Hopman, and his wife. I don't quite know how to say her name. It's like Aniki, maybe? They haven't come out yet. They don't know about it. So the kids are on there and they're looking and they're kind of looking around the boat and checking it out. And then they see this open hatch on the boat. So they get up there and they kind of look in and it's just pitch black in there, like ink. The darkness just is absorbing all light and you can't see anything in there. And so Emma is like, I'm gonna go check this out. And Luca kind of gets this bad feeling about it. He's like, I think he maybe tries to tell her no, but she's like, whatever. And she climbs down in there and he's watching her and he sees this like look come over her face. And then he starts yelling, hey, get out of there, get out of there. And she does not seem to be able to hear him, just like this glazed eye look. And then she like walks deeper into the ship and he can kind of hear her walking around. And, you know, she's just like, is anyone here? Is someone here? And then she seems to disappear and this bell tolls. Luca's not about to go in there. And then other people start to show up. And then they go in there too. These two kids that he went to school with showed up and he's like, hey, Emma went in there and disappeared. And so those boys, because he was like, he admitted that he was kind of too afraid to go in there. These two other boys go in there and they also disappear. So now he's for sure not going in there. Even though he's like, he should have went and looked for his friend and whatnot. Something is going on. And then more people come, the cops come and different people and more people disappear, even though Luca was screaming, don't go in there, don't go in the hatch. And at some point he just becomes like all chaotic and delirious. And so like the girl's father showed up, he went in there, and then even Luca's father ended up going in there, even he was trying and screaming at his dad not to go in. So all these people disappear. And then like not the government shows up, but like the Dutch Secret Service comes. And now they gotta try to like cover all this up because how did this ship get here? Where did it come from? What the F is going on? And then on the other side of the pond over here in America, there is this man who had retired from his life working on really weird stuff. The last thing he did before he retired was he was in Black Spring investigating what was going on with this town that disappeared because there was this witch there. And so Grimm comes into the story, and he is possibly the only one in the world who has experience with this weird paranormal stuff. And once he kind of like catches on to what they maybe want him for, because he's like, why do you guys want me? I don't want to go. No, I just want to drink my life away. This is what I want to do in my weird penthouse here in Atlantic City. And they're like, there's this big bulldog of a guy who's, the muscle, and then this other woman, Glennis, and she has dual citizenship. She's both Dutch and American, and she's kind of tells him why he has to go and whatnot. And the other guy's, intimidating and all that stuff. And so he finally, like, he gets on the plane, and they're going over there, and they're kind of like debriefing him about what's gonna happen, but he doesn't quite know what it is yet. He kind of catches on. He's like, oh my god. He's like, all right, what wormhole did you idiots open now? And so you have this story with this old wooden ship that appeared in a field that no one knows where it came from. No one knows where these people went. They send in other stuff in there, like drones. The drones all disappear, and it's a crazy story. I absolutely loved it. I loved it way more than Hex, but I love stories that have to do with the water and the sea. So where do those people go? Do they come back? Where does the portal go to? Does it go to somewhere else? What is happening? And how are they going to explain this? What is the government cover-up gonna do, and all this crazy stuff? And what role does Lucas still have to play in this? Because he was the first person to notice this thing. And it seems also there might be some ties to some of the families and like this weird history. And so this ship, just a little more history on the ship. They find out that there was a ship called the Oracle that back in 1716 had sunk and gone down in this big maelstrom that had happened. And it was also, I believe it was like a tuberculosis ship, or maybe it wasn't tuberculosis. It was, I don't know. People had, it could have been the plague or tuberculosis or one of those things that happened back in the day where they shoved everyone on a ship, like a sick ship, and then they threw them all into the sea. So we have that going on. So there's a lot of effed up stuff, but it's a crazy story. I loved the weird trajectory that it took. I loved that it had water elements and was about the sea. I loved the paranormalness of it because I love paranormal stuff. And the writing was addictive. This is, an author I really liked. The first book of his I read, and I loved this one. And I need to read the one that's just sitting on my shelf. Don't we all have books on our shelf that we haven't read that we've probably been meaning to? Can't be just me, can it? If you like weird horror that has strange historical elements to it that take place by the sea and in the sea, and if you have read this author before, I would highly recommend it. Even if you haven't, it's pretty awesome. I loved Oracle. I would definitely say I like this one a lot better than Hex. Hex was great, but I'm a sucker for stories by the sea, and add that with paranormal, even better. I love the characters, I love the story. I don't think I had any complaints about this book at all. Not that I can think of at the present time. So if you haven't read Hex by Thomas Olde Heuvelt, the next video coming up will be Hex. If you want to check that out, get a little more info on that book as well. Stick around and click on that one. And if you enjoyed hanging out, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.